So in a previous video, I mentioned that I had an experience to share regarding buying on eBay. And it's an experience that is probably shared by the majority of people who have shopped on eBay or any online platform at some point, whether it's Amazon, eBay, Vinted, or whatever it is. Like it happens, it's universal. So I don't imagine I'm exactly the only one who's experienced this. But it happens common enough whereby it's like a genuine problem. And I don't really know where to go with it. I don't know if it can even be solved. But there's numerous people or businesses that sell online that constantly break the golden rule when it comes to selling and trading. Okay, so I'm going to give you my brief experience, and this is not a new thing. This has happened to me personally over many, many years. I've been trading online as a hobby for the last 20 years, since 2004. So I'm well versed in all of these things. I know how to deal with it. I'm very comfortable with the complaint process, the returns process, the refund process. I'm very comfortable with all of those things. Doesn't make it any less annoying, but I know how it works, and I know how to get the desired result. But a lot of people get really stressed about when things go wrong, with their purchases that they buy online. Um, and I think it's important, just at least from my perspective, just to let people know that you guys are not the only ones. I've been doing it 20 years, and I'm still running into these morons who think they can rip you off. So you may have noticed, if you watch my videos, I mean, I only get like 5 people watching, right? So this is not a worldwide um, content show. I understand that. Want it to be, but it's not. So I'm not trying to, I don't have delusions of grandeur in that respect. But I mentioned in a previous video that I do collect Skylanders, and I am slowly building my Skylanders collection. I know, I'm a grown man who likes Skylanders. I understand all of those things, but that's not the point. Putting a serious face is not the point. The point is, when I buy something online, I expect it. I expect to buy what's being advertised. Okay, so I recently thought I was buying a brand spanking new Dinorang, and Dinorang is a Skylanders character from Series 1, Spyro's Adventure. Very bog standard, run of the mill character, loads of them around. And I decided that I wanted to buy a new one in the box, in packet. I already have a loose one. I don't want another loose one. I want one in a box, right? Normal standard thing. Shouldn't be that complicated. Found a seller who was selling one for a reasonable price. Okay, the photos all looked good. Everything looked new, clean, tidy, ready for when I receive it to go straight into my. I've got chest of drawers down there where they all fit into. Okay, that's it. So I've been waiting a week, so very slow delivery anyway. On top of that, this is what I got. See that damage? See those creases? See that massive dent in the bubble? Look at the back. Again, creases, damage. Everything's worn, frayed, XYZ. It's a piece of garbage. This belongs in the trash, basically. Belongs in the trash. That in no way belongs in my collection. No way. So I reached out to the seller. Now, to be fair, they walked it back straight away. They said, yeah, no problem, give you a refund, just send it back. Which obviously is the only outcome that I would actually accept. And it's fine that they didn't put up any resistance to that. But a lot of people do put up resistance to it. And you probably may have dealt with people who have put up resistance, who have tried to scam you and say, oh no, that's, you did that yourself, you're not sending it back. You're trying to swap one and send back, I sent you a fresh one, you're sending back a damaged one. They try and play all these little games, and some buyers play those games as well. So it's important you do research on people before you buy from them as much as humanly possible. It's not always possible, but where it is, where feedback is present, you should always go through it as much as possible. I mean, there's a reason why on my profile it's 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star. My feedback is a purple star. You don't get a purple star for being a scummy trader, put it that way. So I got this thing. I'm going to send it back. It's going to go back in the box it came from. And I'm going to get my money back, and I'm going to source a new one from somebody else. But my point ultimately is this: if you plan on trading online, it doesn't matter if you're even in an in-person business, it doesn't matter. But especially for online traders, whether you're doing it as a business or whether you're doing it as a private individual who just has some scrap that they want to sell, right? Now, this might be valuable to somebody, right? In this case, they might not care, but the fact is you're not advertising it in the right way. You're misleading people with a lack of description. You didn't advertise any of this damage. Okay, your photographs didn't show that. So the fact that you're trying to scam me with this piece of garbage isn't going to wash with me. It's almost like they didn't even check to see how long I've been doing this, to see how many things I've sold over the years, how many things I've got listed, how much high-end stuff that I've got that I sell. These people don't even do their own checks. So to think that they could get away with that, I find quite offensive to myself, basically. And I've also got to now spend my own time, my own effort and energy, not only packaging this up, take it to the post office at my own expense, got to take the time to post it, I've got to go on, I've got to source another one, I've got to wait for that to arrive. That's if that one comes in the condition I want. These are all things that I'm having to now do unnecessarily, simply because this person broke the number one golden rule when it comes to trading. And it doesn't matter if you're a corporation. Corporations are equally guilty of this. They're the most guilty of it in all of the entire world. But they're guilty of it. But especially on eBay, you get these individuals, these unscrupulous individuals who break the golden rule, which is you never, never disrespect the money. Let that sink in. You should never disrespect the customer and their money. If a person is willing to spend their money with you, you should treat that with the utmost respect. That is the priority for your day. That should be your only concern for that day, is to making sure that what you've advertised and what you plan on sending out is exactly what that person has ordered. It doesn't matter if it's £5. Okay, I with shipping I paid £14 for this piece of trash, but I thought I was getting a new one. But it doesn't matter if this is £14, £5, 20p, or £500. If somebody is spending their money with you, or they're spending their money with me, I'm going to treat that with the respect it deserves. So I'm going to list the thing properly with correct photographs, with the correct description. I'm going to get it shipped out in a nice box. It's going to be well packaged. Look at my feedback. It's all about packaging. Everything's well done. It's tracked. It's delivered. It's sent out within the time scale that I get it sent out in 3 days, 3 working days, because I have a job. So it gets sent out with expedited delivery. I treat it with the respect it deserves, because ultimately you don't have to spend your money with me. I don't have to spend my money with you. I'm choosing to do it because it's a hobby. So if you're going to disrespect my money my time, my energy, then you don't deserve that money, quite simply put. And if I was to disrespect your money by messing you around, by sending you something that was a piece of garbage, I don't deserve your money either. And there are too many people that think that they can get away with that type of action, that type of behavior, that way of conducting their business. And that might work for some people. They may get away with that with other people because other people just maybe don't care as much, right? And that's fine if you don't care, but you're just exacerbating the problem for people like me. So it's important that when you come across these individuals who mess you around, who disrespect you as a customer, who disrespect your money, it's important to hold them accountable. Um, and I wasn't rude about it, but I said this is unacceptable. I'm going to send it back. And thankfully, they didn't try to fight it because they wouldn't have a leg to stand on. That's a fight they wouldn't win anyway. Because I know how the process works. I'm comfortable with it. But not all people uh, will just accept a return. Some people very, very. It's a small percentage of people. Don't get me wrong, but it's enough where it puts people off of good, genuine sellers who are trying to do the right thing. And I've got another experience. It's the same sort of thing. He sent me a bunch of stuff. A couple of the things were damaged. It wasn't listed as being damaged. Wasn't photographed as being damaged. Wasn't described as being damaged. The damage didn't happen in the shipping because the shipping was pretty, it was decently packed. So I can't even complain about that. But when I said it's unacceptable and I said you should have told me about this, you should have inspected your items before they got sent out, because stuff can happen in between listing something and ending up selling it, because like I've sold stuff like 3 years after listing it. Now if that thing has been sitting in a cupboard or a cardboard box and it hasn't been stored correctly, things can happen to that item over the course of years that you might not even be aware of. And then somebody gets up and it's got a flaw in it, it's got damage in it, and it's not really your fault, but you haven't inspected it prior to sending it out. So I genuinely said to him, you should have photographed it, you should have inspected it, you should have cleaned it before it went out. I'm not accepting that. He was incredibly rude to me, and the arrogance of the man was incredulous, to the point where he literally blamed me for not requesting photographs, as if I was somehow to know that his things were damaged, even though he hadn't described them as being damaged, even though the listing only contained a single photograph. It's somehow my fault because I didn't ask for additional photos that I am unhappy with what I received. And I found that to be incredibly rude and arrogant, and I wasn't going to tolerate that. So, yeah, ended up sending those back. Got a refund, of course. Why wouldn't I? I know how the process works. But these are the types of people that do not treat you well as a customer. So once they have your money, you know, they won't respond to your messages. They'll just send stuff out whenever they feel like it. They won't package it properly. It's just like, I've got your money. Yeah, you'll get what you get. It's not my problem. It's your problem. And that is absolutely no way to conduct any sort of business, even as a hobby. Even if you're just selling your odds and ends, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. And the damage wasn't even the worst part of it. And his attitude wasn't even the worst part of it. The worst part of it was the cleanliness of the figures that I bought, which were horrendous. Even though it wasn't completely evident in the photograph, that the one photograph that was listed on that particular listing, nothing to do with the Skyline. It's a completely separate set of figures. It was covered in some white powder, and I was like, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching it. You can take it back. It had other stuff attached to it as well. I can't say what it is because I don't want to get don't want to get struck but this is meant to be a family channel, so I can't say what else was attached to the card. But then to blame the person who purchased it from you, saying, well, it's your fault you're not happy. You didn't ask for more photographs. Sorry, no, that's not how that works. You need to do better. Quite simply, that's it. That's the bottom line. So I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I know, it's not the common experience, but it happens enough where it's a problem, and it can cause someone like me or someone like you or another person to really lose faith in the people who are trying to do things the right way. Um, so, if nothing else, I just want to reassure people that if that has been your experience, it's not the majority of people. The majority of people do care about what they're selling because they understand the golden rule when it comes to selling. Corporations can disrespect you, individual people who are unscrupulous can disrespect you, but the majority of people understand the golden rule, and is you always have to respect the money. That's it. Whether it's 20p, £500, 20 grand, a million, whatever it is, if you respect the money, you're going to do your best to give the people what it is that you're advertising. That should be the only thing. If you list something correctly, even if it's in bad condition, right? Somebody might be okay with that. What's worse is that if you think that a person came down in the last rain shower, thinking that your customer is a moron, that they're not going to know the difference between a brand new item and something that's come with the Ebola virus attached to it, then you have no business selling on your platform, or having a store, whatever it is, whatever your method is. You've got no business doing that.
Hello, I'm King Pogman. Can I get a like and subscribe? It would really help the YouTube algorithm. Thank you.
Guys, hear me. It's not the majority of people. The majority of people are good, solid individual sellers who do things the right way. They package things the right way. They don't try to scam you by sending you something that isn't what they're advertising. They do things the right way. I try and do things the right way. I hope that my feedback um, supports that. My 5-star rating supports that. My purple star supports that. And another thing that I just wanted to briefly mention is that sometimes people will message me online, and they'll say, it's I really want this thing that you're selling, but it's a bit out of my price range. Can you do this price XYZ? Normally, I put best offers on my items. Normally, because I normally have some wiggle room. But there are times when I don't. Um, and quite frankly, because I know what I provide, I know what I'm about as a hobbyist, as a seller hobbyist, the level of service and the level of item and description and photographs and everything that I provide people, the fact that I do respect your money, I do respect your time, the fact that you don't have to buy from me, you could buy from someone else, or you could just save your money and not buy anything at all. I understand all these things. That's why a lot of my stuff is quite expensive and high end. But that's because my service has a value to it. The fact that I respect your money and I'm not trying to screw you over, there is a value to that because I know what I offer people. And any good seller who also sells good quality items, they know what they have and they know what they're about. And for trustworthy people to have consistent returning purchasers, there is a value to that. So if you're worried about purchasing something that might be a bit on the expensive side, you should view it as you're equally getting a good service. So I respond to messages almost every time within minutes, if not hours, if not within 24 hours. Like I say, I do have a secular job on top of everything else. So, but it's always within 24 hours. A lot of people they never respond to your messages. Why not? It's like they don't respect your money. Who would have thought that, right? Who would have thought that people don't respect your money by not responding to your messages? I respond to your messages. I ship things out properly. Look at my feedback. Look at the packaging. The packaging reports that people send, that post online, it's all pristine, it's all fantastic. There is a value to that. Um, and that means that some of my stuff costs a little bit more, my collectibles cost a little bit more than somebody else's will, who doesn't really pride themselves with delivering a good product, a good service. The last thing I wanted to mention, and this is something that has bugged me fairly recently. It hasn't really bugged me before recently, but for some reason, maybe it's because I'm getting old, I don't know, but I want people to understand the idea behind a best offer. Okay, the best offer is essentially acting as a negotiation tool. So if you think back to ancient times, in biblical times, where you had the markets, you had the bazaars, XYZ, there was always the culture of trading was one of negotiation and bartering. Okay, now that we're in the modern day and buying and selling has moved predominantly online, people have lost the idea or the understanding of how to barter properly. So let me just give you a quick breakdown of the best offer function, because I only really sell on eBay. I gave up selling on Amazon, it's a piece of trash. So I just stick to eBay or in-person sales, which I'm going to be doing more next year at toy fairs, etc. So the best offer function is a negotiating tool. If you are a seller and you put a best offer function on your items and somebody sends you a best offer, you have a responsibility to respond to that offer. Okay, that at that point the negotiation has started, and this goes back, as I say, to the ancient tradition of bartering in the markets, in the bazaars, which has lasted thousands of years up until today. Now, just because it's online, that doesn't make it any different. If you've got a best offer function, you're choosing to put that option on your listing. So if somebody sends you an offer, again, you have to respect the customer, okay? You have to respect that somebody is sending you an offer because they are willing to spend money with you. If they are willing to spend money with you, it is in your best interest to engage with that person. That person is a potential customer who has money to spend on whatever item it is you're selling. So if someone sends you an offer and you fail to even interact with the negotiation, you fail to even start the negotiation, you are failing in your duty to respect the money. You are failing in your duty to adhere to an ancient tradition of bartering and negotiation. So if you're just gonna get offers in and just let them expire, there is absolutely no point whatsoever in you having that function on your listing. If you're not interested in engaging with people in the bartering process, just take it off your listing. Don't waste everybody's time, because that person who sent an offer is now waiting for you to negotiate back to them. And this has bothered me pretty recently because I've been working hard at building my collections, right? And I've talked about my Ninja Turtles collection, and it's not specifically relating to that, but it is just part of a much wider issue. And again, I'm not the only one that experiences this problem. Okay, I'm a seller, but I'm also a buyer. I'm a full-on hobbyist trader, and I send a lot of offers to people for stuff that I think that I would like in my collection, and I get really tired of people not negotiating with me. Now, even if my offer is considered low, okay, I don't know what you're willing to accept. So the negotiation process is you start high, I start low, and we come to a happy medium. Okay, so I'm starting low. If you don't come back to me and you just let the offer expire, what am I supposed to do? I obviously I assume you don't want it. You don't want the offer, but you're not telling me what your price range is. Because obviously if you've got a best offer there, what you're listing your item as is not going to be the final sale price, right? So if I'm sending you an offer, give me an indication by bartering with me about what you're likely to accept, and we'll come to a happy medium. Now, some people do the bartering, and it's, I've bought stuff through the negotiation process, and I genuinely enjoy negotiating and bartering with people. It's a fun little thing to do. But again, if you're the sort of person who just just you know lets it ride and just does nothing about it, then it's just rude. It's just no way to conduct your business as a seller. And quite frankly, you shouldn't even be using the best offer function anyway, because clearly you're either not willing or you're incapable of understanding and taking part in the tradition of bartering. So if that's you, sort it out, sort yourself out. Um, if you're interested in my things and you want to send offers and they have best offer functions, I put it on there for a reason. It's because I'm open to negotiation, okay? And I'm encouraging negotiation for that specific thing. So, and I don't put limits on anything that I sell as far as best offers go. I will look at anything anybody sends and I will engage in that process. So I don't say, okay, well, I've got this thing listed for £100, but if somebody doesn't offer me, you know, £90, it's just going to get automatically rejected. I don't put any limits on minimum offers. It's just send me an offer and we'll start the process. So, and even if I don't have a best offer listed, send me a message anyway. Just drop me a message. Like I say, I'll respond within 24 hours. Just send me a message anyway. Like the worst that could happen is that I say no, and I probably have a specific reason as to why I'm saying no. But if you don't start, then you never know. But for me personally, again, stop wasting my time. If you're putting best offers, um, and you're putting it out there that you're open to negotiation, but you don't engage in the process, then stop wasting everybody's time. Stop disrespecting the money. Stop disrespecting people's time and effort, having to wait for you to respond and never getting a response. And then during that time, they could have gone somewhere else and got something, or engaged in a bartering somewhere else for somebody else who's selling the same thing. So these are all things to consider. These are all things to think about. I just wanted to have a moan, but also let people know what I'm about as well. So that's it for today. Appreciate you letting me waffle on. It's good to vent sometimes, and obviously it's good to share experiences against unscrupulous people who don't know what they're doing with their buying and selling. So appreciate your time and see you in the next one. Bye for now.